Srinvatang Swakatha. Now, Srinvatang Swakatha.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. First of all, I'm offering my Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev. Nitilila Pravishta Om Vishnu Padasro Tarasata Shri Shriman A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. And secondly, I'm offering my equal Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali to the lotus feet of my beloved Siksha Gurus. Nitilila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Astro Tarasata Shri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shridhar Goswami Maharaj. And Om Vishnu Pad Astro Tarasata Shri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And to the lotus feet of all of my Rupanuga Guru Varga, and my pranams to all the Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, friends and guests in this auspicious assembly to hear Harikatha from the lips of a pure devotee of Krishna. Srila Gurudev has been introducing us to the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein Sita Goswami and the sages of Naimisharanya, they are contemplating how the soul, how the Atma, the eternal soul, can achieve full satisfaction, can become samprasidati, transcendentally satisfied and happy. And he has introduced us to the preceding verses in which it is clearly defined that bhakti to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, this is the ultimate dharma, the ultimate duty of the soul, and nothing else will ever satisfy the soul except this. And he has described that without attaining attachment and attraction to hearing the transcendental messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then no matter what we are doing in this world, it is shrama evahi kevalam, simply useless labor, because at the time of death, nothing can be brought with us. So, Srimad Bhagavatam herein is describing the transcendental process by which, hearing the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam and the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, how that transcendental message will enter into our ears and into our heart, and the process will be performed by the power and the potency of Harikatha to cleanse our hearts and bring us into complete transcendental realization of the Supreme Lord, Tattva Gyan, as Gurudev was describing, all Tattva Gyan being obtained, and realizing one's eternal relationship with Krishna, and ending this cycle of repeated birth and death. So here, this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is beginning with the explanation of hearing Krishna Katha. Shrin Katham Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Vridyam Taksto Hi Avadrami Vidhunoti Subritsatam. Here it is said that Krishna's own topics about himself are non-different than himself. Krishna's name, qualities, form, pastimes, and his Harikatha, they are supremely powerful, just as Krishna himself is. And when one hears these transcendental messages from the lips of the pure, realized Bhagavad Vaishnava, then there is a power in that Harikatha, because Krishna himself comes in the form of this Harikatha and enters into one's ears and into one's heart. And then Krishna begins the process of cleansing the heart for the sincere devotee. Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. This process of Shravan Kirtan, hearing and chanting these divine messages, is the topmost activity that can be performed by the human being. And within our hearts, because we are conditioned souls for millions of lifetimes in this material world, there is so much inauspicious things, like dust on the mirror, dust covering the mirror. You cannot see any image when you look in the mirror. Similarly, our hearts are full of so many inauspicious desires and anarthas, unwanted things. So by the process of hearing Krishna Katha, then cleansing of the heart, it begins by the power of Krishna Katha. And then, Nashtak Prayeshu Abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So now, by the process of hearing and the heart becoming cleansed, Nashtak Prayeshu Abhatreshu, not fully, but for the most part, now the cleansing process has become effective. And Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. How is this happening? Because the devotee is engaging regularly, constantly. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. He's constantly serving the message of Srimad Bhagavatam by hearing Harikatha. And also, the other type of Bhagavat, he is called Bhakta Bhagavat. So he is constantly engaged in serving the divine orders of the spiritual master, of the pure devotee, living his life according to his direction. So by performing this practice, then constantly, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Now, pure devotion, pure Bhakti Yoga, as we heard Sripad Damodar Maharaj explaining the definition of Shuddha Bhakti, Uttama Bhakti, devoid of all other material desires and only fully concentrating 24 hours on Krishna and his happiness. So in this way, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. It becomes manifested within one's heart in the form of Naishtiki Bhakti. Naishtiki means unwavering. Always constantly like a stream of honey that is flowing. So Bhakti is going on 24 hours a day with one's mind, body, words, and bhavs, emotions. So then, tada rajastamo bhava kama lobha dayaschaye cheta etair anavidham stitam sattve prasidati. So now, in this material world, there are the impulses which are born of the modes of material nature. These are called triguna. They are called sattva, rajas, and tamas. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. And by the force of these three modes of the mayak, the illusory potency of the Supreme Lord, therefore all living entities are impelled to act and to have the lower qualities imbibed within their mind and heart, like lust, anger, envy, illusion, and so forth. So in this way, this kama lobha, lust and anger and greed and so forth, now all these effects, they become completely extinguished. Cheta etairana vidham. Now one's consciousness, the pure consciousness of the soul, no longer becomes touched by these external modes of nature. And stitam sattve prasidati. Now the devotee becomes situated in sattva, pure goodness, where now he can completely focus and he is not agitated by the external attractions and illusions of this material world. Then, evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. So now, evam prasanna manaso, now in this condition, when he's doing bhakti to Krishna, he feels great peacefulness and satisfaction within his mind, within his heart. Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha and Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam. He attains, as Srila Gurudev described, pure transcendental Tattva Jnana. He realizes his own soul. He realizes, I am Atma, I'm not this material body. I have nothing to do with this material world and all the so-called possessions of this body and this material world. And he gains knowledge, Bhagavat Tattva, true knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It manifests within his heart. He understands what is the illusory energy of Maya and all these different Tattva Jnana. He comes to understand clearly and realize. And Mukta Sangasya Jayate. now he becomes mukta. That means he becomes liberated. He becomes untouched by the effects of all illusion in this world. And he becomes a mukta jeev, liberated soul. And then, vidyate hridaya grantis, chityante sarva samshaya, shiyante chatsya karmani, drishta evatmanishvare. Now, vidyate, the hridaya granta, the knot that is within our heart, binding us to this material world. Now it becomes pierced. That knot becomes loosened. Chityante sarva samshaya. Now all doubts, all illusory attractions to this world, they become completely shattered by the power of this divine realization. And chiyante chasya karmani. Now all of the constant chain of karma that has bound us in this material world repeatedly, lifetime after lifetime, now it becomes terminated. And drishta evatmanishvare. Now the devotee realizes the presence of the Supreme Lord, who is known as Ishvara, the Supreme Controller of all. He is within our heart, sitting next to our Atma, as Srila Gurudev told us in the beginning of his lecture, that we are the Atma, we are the tiny, infinitesimal, spiritual, eternal particle, and he is the Supreme, unlimited Supreme Lord, and he is accompanying us within our own heart as the Paramatma. So when we understand Drishta Evatmanishvare, that the Supreme Lord himself is the controller of all, then we fully surrender at his lotus feet and attain our eternal relationship with him. This is the power of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing from the lips of a pure, realized Guru, pure devotee of Krishna. This is the most auspicious activity that we can perform. So if we clearly open our eyes, open our ears, our hearts, and fully accept this divine message as Srila Gurudev is telling us during these few coming days, then the power of this Harikatha will begin this process, as you just heard, within your own hearts, and we will attain our divine relationship with Krishna.
Hearing all this from Sutta Goswami, Shaunak, and 88,000 of rishis became very happy. And they were wondering that, oh, Bhakti is so glorious. Please tell us how this Bhakti easily can come in our heart. Our heart is full of so many unwanted things, unearths, worldly desires. Please be merciful and tell us. Then he told, without Guru, you cannot have Bhakti. Even Krishna cannot give you Bhakti. Krishna is Supreme Lord. He can do anything. He is independent. But he cannot give Bhakti. Why? Because if he is giving Bhakti to one person and not to other, then this blame will come and this partiality is in Krishna. And Mahabharata, like Sukadeva Goswami and others, Narad Goswami, they are Mukta Mahapurush, liberated persons. Oh, they cannot do mercy. By their mercy, Bhakti will not come. From where? Madhyam Adhikari Bhakta. Prema Maitri Kripa Peksha Jaha Karoti Se Madhyamaha. Love and affection to Krishna and Maitri. Three kinds of Maitri. Those who are superior Vaishnava, Maitri with service. Those who are equal, Maitri with Maitri. And those who are juniors, Maitri with mercy. And those who are innocent, no Mayabad, you should do Kripa to them. And those who are against Krishna, avoid them. This is the qualification of a Madhyam Adhikari. So these Madhyam Adhikari Vaishnava can give bhakti. Not in his Mahabhava stage cannot, but he will descend in Madhyam Adhikari and then he can give bhakti. Otherwise not. So the backbone of bhakti, the source of reservoir of bhakti is Madhyam Adhikari, this Vaishnava Bhakta. So, how easily it can be? Then Sut Goswami began to tell. I will tell you something. How Guru is merciful and how he is qualified. I will tell a story of Narad and Vyas. Narad divided all the Vedas. Very, very difficult.
Yes.
Very difficult. So he divided in four Vedas. Rigved, Samved, Yajurved, Atharvaved. And then he took the essence of all the four Vedas and composed Brahma Sutra, about 50 Sutra. Sutra means
condensed form.
Condensed form. But he again thought, these are very, very hard. General people cannot understand. What to do? Then he made
Mahabharata.
Purans, all other Purans. Mukhya Puran, Upapuran, Shakha Puran. 36 kinds of Puran. Even he was not satisfied. Then he made Pancham Ved, Mahabharata, for Shudra, for Brahmins, for Rishis, Muni, for all. But he was not satisfied. Even Brahma received Chaturshloki Bhagavat and he told to Narad, and mercifully Narad told to Vyasdev, but even he was not satisfied by that. So one day he was thinking, I have done so many things. A common person cannot do like this. But where is my mistake? I cannot think. My soul is not happy. I am not happy. What is the reason behind? And in the same time, Devarshi Narad came with his veena. Then Vyasdev washed his feet and gave a asana to him, gave water to drink. And when he was satisfied and sat easily, then Narad Rishi told, "Oh Prabhu, you are not a common person. You are Saptavesh avatar of Narayan. But I see that you are not happy. Why you are not happy?" Then Vyasdev told, "Oh Gurudev, I have done all these things as you are telling. But I don't know why I am
Unhappy.
Unhappy. You are doctor or Vaidya. You can show my
feel the pulse.
and you can decide. So, a disciple cannot know why he is unhappy, but Guru knows. No need of
Feeling the pulse.
looking pulses. Oh, he will see your face and tell everything. What you have, you know, don't know, but he knows. By one glance he will know. Then, now told, Prabhu, you have done so many things, but as you have discussed all these things, dharma, varnashram dharma. Varnashram dharma, you know, the dharma of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Sannyasi, Brahmachari, Vanaprastha and Grihastha. You have done all these things. But you have golden sword then. You have not told them. There, the glories of Krishna. No sweet Harikatha of Krishna. That is why your mind is disturbed and you are not happy. Shabdani should tell in brief. Hear patiently, with care, to follow bhakti. Guru bhakti is born of bhakti. Guru nishtha is backbone of bhakti.
Om Adyanam Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I offer up my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Bhikshi Gurudev Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, bestowed to the Satyasri Sriman Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shikshi Gurudev Om Vishnupad, bestowed to the Satyasri Sriman Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, to all of our disciplic succession and all the assembled devotees. Srila Gurudev has ordered me to discuss the teachings of Sri Narada Muni to Srila Vyasadeva. As Srila Gurudev mentioned, Narada Muni is a Mahabhagavad, a resident also of the spiritual world. But in order to show mercy to those in this material world, he took the role of a Madhyama Adhikari who makes 4 distinctions. So to his disciple, Vyasadeva, he is giving now instructions. He asks Vyasadeva that you've discussed and described the glories of Varnashram, you discussed all the heavenly planets and how to get there, you divided all the Vedas, you wrote the Puranas and the Mahabharata for the less intelligent. So still you're unhappy. Why is that? Because you've neglected to glorify the personality of Godhead. Any words that do not describe the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the only sanctifying deity in the material world, whose service alone can sanctify all the 3 worlds, such words are known by saintly persons to be a pilgrimage of the crows. On the other hand, that transcendental literature, which glorifies the name, fame, form, personality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is another type of creation, which acts as a revolution in the impious lives and the dust-worn hearts of civilization. So he's trying to encourage Srila Vyasadeva. He says that people generally want to enjoy, so they will misunderstand what you're trying to do in the Vedas and use whatever Vedic literatures you've written as an excuse to enjoy within my Varnashram life or an excuse to go to the heavenly planets, or when that all fails, then I'll merge and become one with the impersonal God. So he's encouraging him. I'll tell you how I myself became a pure devotee. And by this you can understand how by surrender to Guru, how by hearing and glorifying the Lord, you reach all perfection. And then I want you to enter into trance, because you're so qualified that you can enter into trance and see within your heart all the pastimes of the Lord from beginning to end. And then I want you to describe his glories. So Narada told about his own life. Many times spiritual masters will explain how they developed their eternally liberated souls, but they explain to increase the faith of the disciple how they became pure devotees. So Narada said that in my previous life I was the son of a maidservant, a very poor maidservant. And during the rainy season and autumn season, the great sages who generally travel around all over without staying in one place very long, they stay for several months in one place to enlighten the people there. So I was engaged in the service of the Bhakti Vedantas, of the great sages. One time I tasted the remnants of their foodstuffs, and just by doing that, I became free from all sins. Then, engaging more in their service, I developed an intense attraction for hearing their messages, and I lost all my taste for anything else. I was very well behaved, quiet, and gentle, and I wasn't interested in frivolous sports. So hearing from them about the glories of the Lord, I got a great greed to serve the Lord. Then, though, the time passed and the great sages left. But just before they left, they instructed me on the confidential message of the Lord, and I desired to be with them and leave my family connection. Family connection means my mother. But my mother had only me, so she lavished me with all of her affection. But because I had a great desire to serve these Bhakti Vedantas and become a pure devotee and glorify the Lord, Krishna made the arrangement that one night my mother, as she was going out for milking the cows, she was bit on the leg by a serpent, and she immediately died. I did not lament over this. I took this as the mercy of the Lord. And without even looking back, I left and went to search out the Lord in the forest. Vyasadeva asked Narada, after initiation, please tell me what you did. And Narada explained that I went to all the towns and villages and woodlands, and whenever I was tired, I just went to the rivers and drank water. I became so detached. Then I went to a very sacred holy place by the river. And Narada was explaining that in this first stage, this is his first carrier, he had some slight little desire. And what was that? Not like us, who are so filled with desires. I want to eat the nicest foods, I want to see the nicest thing on TV, I want all the praise, I want all the respect, I want the nicest amount of money and comforts, as Gurudev was explaining. But Narada just had one slight little material desire, and that was in the mode of goodness. He wanted to worship the Lord in a very sanctified, sacred place. So he meditated, controlling his senses and his mind. And after many, many years of austerities and meditation, the Lord appeared to him, just for one moment, and then disappeared. And then the Lord told him that I will not appear to you again in this life, because you have a slight desire. So in order to purify yourself, the Lord said in an aerial voice, not again showing his form, in order to purify yourself, you should engage wholeheartedly in traveling all over the world and glorifying me, singing my glories with a very humble heart and free from all envy. So Narada told Vyasadeva that I did that, and thus I became very, very advanced. So advanced that as a product of my devotional service, as a very, very insignificant byproduct, all mystic powers came in my heart. All transcendental knowledge came to me, spiritual TV in the heart to see everything, spiritual and material, and all the 8 mystic powers, like one can reach out to another planet, just like that, and get a fruit. One could become heavier than a universe, he could become lighter than the atom, he could bring anyone under his control. So I got that just as an insignificant byproduct of devotional service. And then, as I gradually approached the time of leaving my body, simultaneously, just as lightning and thunder happen simultaneously, so I left my body and I get my transcendental body, which is free from the influence of the modes of nature. And now I can travel everywhere, all throughout the spiritual world, throughout the material worlds, to Ayodhya, to Vaikuntha, to Brahmaloka. Even Narada Muni goes to Goloka Vrindavan and associates with the devotees there. Then he ordered Sri Vyasadeva that you haven't described the glories of the Lord. You've told so many other things, but have you explained how Mother Yasoda would twist Krishna's ear and chastise him and make Krishna weep and make him surrender to her? Oh no, Gurudev, I haven't done that. Then what have you written? Have you written how Krishna would play challenging games with his coward boyfriends and he would defeat them, or they would defeat him? In fact, he took more pleasure when they defeated him. And Krishna would say, oh, I defeated you because you're sitting on me and your nose is looking down and my nose is looking up, so I defeated you. Have you written about any of this? Vyasadeva said, no, I didn't know about it. How could I write? So what have you written? Nothing. And have you written how Krishna surrendered his peacock feather and his flute at the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika and begged her, please forgive me, I'll never offend you again? And he fully surrendered at her lotus feet? No, Gurudev, I haven't. Then you haven't given anything for the real welfare of society. Therefore, you should now go into trance. And Vyasadeva had full faith in Narada. When Narada first arrived, as Srila Gurudev explained, he worshipped him and gave him a worshipable seat, washed his feet. And he told him, Oh Lord, you are just like the sun who can travel everywhere over the 3 worlds. And you are just like the air which penetrates the inner regions of everything and the hearts of all living entities. This is the qualification of a bona fide guru. So Vyasadeva, showing us that even Vyasadeva, who's the incarnation of the Lord, he surrendered to Guru. He couldn't be successful without Guru, surrendering to Guru, so what to speak of us? So Narada instructed him to go in trance. So Vyasadeva, after Narada left, went into the trance of mystic yoga. And he saw from beginning to end Krishna's birth, Krishna's killing Putana, all the other demons, Krishna's dancing in Rasalila with the gopis, his going to Mathura, his going to Dwarka, his sending Uddhav hearing Brahma Geet by Srimati Radhika, all the pastimes from beginning to end. And then, Anartam Upasamam Shakshad Bhakti Yoga Manoksaje Lokasya Janata Vidvams Chakresakvata Samhita. He saw everything in his trance of Bhakti Yoga, and then knowing that Anartam Upasamam Shakshad, all anartas, 16 kinds of anartas, offenses, not understanding the goal, not understanding the process, desiring heavenly planets, merging, material enjoyment, all the anartas are at once mitigated by the process of devotional service. But the whole world does not know this, and therefore the great sage Vyasadeva compiled that Samhita in the mode of goodness, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vedyam Vastuvamatra Vastu Shivadam Chapachayam Mulanam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest truth, and that truth uproots all the threefold miseries of all the living entities. So by the mercy of Sri Narada, Vyasadeva attained perfection, and perfection in his writing, and now we have the beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam which the manifestation of Sri Vyasadeva, that is Srila Gurudev, the manifestation of Vyasadeva, the manifestation of Narada, the manifestation of Nityananda, the manifestation of Srimati Radhika, the manifestation of Sri Rupa Goswami and Rupa Manjari, Srila Gurudev will teach us that Srimad Bhagavatam and try to put that in our hearts so that we can be happy.
Very good.
Gurudev, can I ask one question? Is Narada traveling alone?
Narada is traveling by himself, Narada alone.
Come on, I'm not hearing.
বলছেন নারদ সে একাই ভ্রমণ করার সঙ্গে কাউকে নিয়ে ভ্রমণ করে আমাদের প্রচার হয়ে যাওয়ার সঙ্গে সঙ্গে কাউকে নিয়ে যায় সব নারদ কাউকে সঙ্গে নিয়ে ঘুরে কি একাই ঘুরেন
Shabda Brahma, Veena he takes, and everywhere he preaches. No need of disciple, no need of anyone. But where he goes, he makes disciples like
প্রহ্লাদ মহারাজ ধ্রুব মহারাজ
Dhruva Maharaj,
বাল্মীকি
Prahlad,
ব্যাসদেব
Vyasdev, Valmiki, and so many, one top to bottom.
Sometimes he travels with Angira Rishi.
But
Sometimes Narad Muni travels also with other rishis.
কি বলছে?
কখনো অঙ্গিরার সঙ্গেও দেখা যায় উনি অঙ্গিরার সঙ্গে কোথাও গিয়েছেন
Oh, sometimes, if needed, he takes Angira Rishi or other Rishi also, like him. Those who are his friends can go. As needs. So, you should know what Narad told, how easily bhakti comes. She told, but you could not give attention. Narad told, when I was 5 years boy, some rishis came. That rishi were Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan, Sanat Kumar and others. And for 4 months of rainy season, they were there. They made hot, and there they used to tell Hari Katha. So, Narad Rishi's mother was cleaning their pots and everything, clearing places and everything. So Narad, only 5 years age, he used to go with his mother, and one day he asked them, "Oh, may you please give your remnant?" Only one day. And they saw that this boy is very sincere. She may have bhakti easily. So kindly they gave their remnants to him. And by taking one time even, what became? Ruchi Prajayati. In Hari Katha, taste came. And then I began to hear all these things, what they discussed in 4 months. Everything I knew by ear. So, Bhakti Pada Jal or Bhakta Pada Thuli, 18 sadhaner bal.
এই তিন সেবা হইতে কৃষ্ণ প্রেমা হয় পুনঃ পুনঃ সর্বশাস্ত্রে পুকারিয়া কয়
If any high class of Vaishnava, 2 kinds of remnants, what they take prasadam, that prasadam may I take, not like, "Oh Prabhu, give me," and forcibly taking their remnants. Not that. Bhakta Padadhuli, forcibly making him down and taking their feet up. No, this is not. When they are walking and they will go, they should not see and they take remnant. Please, may I take some?
For stealing shoes?
Or feet dust and also water.
Feet about the water.
Feet.
Feet about the water.
Feet wash water. They are very, very powerful. By this, bhakti easily comes. And that is why Narad told, by this way, I had taste in hearing Hari Katha. And by hearing Katha, all things came. They gave my mantra, and by the power of mantra, I saw Krishna in a glance. And after that, when death came, I put my feet on the
Head of death.
and that body went on and finished, and then transcendental form. In transcendental form, so beautiful. He began to travel whole world in Vrindavan, in Narayan Lok,
Navadip,
in
Ajodha,
Mahaprabhu Dham, Ajodhya Dham, in heaven, even in Vrindavan, even in Dwarka, everywhere, like Krishna. So, Sadhu Sanga, Sarva Shastra Kaya. Vyasdev, for ignorant persons, what he saw in his meditation or trance, he wrote in the form of a book. And he saw that in this world only one his son, Sukadev, detached from birth. When his birth, he came out of his mother womb, he had once fled away from there and he went to forest. And Vyasdev was calling, Putra, Putra, Putra. And what voice coming? Pratidhvani.
Who saw his father?
Echo came from trees. Oh, who is son, who is father, who is mother. And how he was detached from world, that when he was going, oh, his father also following him, and he saw his father, that there were so many aspara girls, they were taking bath naked. And when they saw Sukdev Goswami, as a 16 years old, quite naked, they had no shame at all. But when they saw this old person, all white, when they went there, they took all their clothes and came and did pranam. Then Vyasdev asked, my son, as a 16 years old, very beautiful, naked, but you have no shame at all, and from me, why you are ashamed? Then he told, in his sight, all are like tree, like stones. He sees what? Only Krishna and what? He Krishna always sees, nothing else. He not saying that he is lady or he is man or he what he is tiger or what. His only vision is that, in all hearts, Supreme Lord is there. So he sings this. So for him, no shame. But you are asking that we are lady and you are male, you are thinking. That is why we have so. So from birth he was detached from whole world. And he has Brahma, he was Brahma Nirat, means
absorbed in Brahma.
always Brahma. What Brahma? Creator of this Brahma world. No form, nothing, but
Somebody.
acting so many things. But when he heard Hari Katha, the glories of Krishna, the qualities of Krishna, the beauty of Krishna, Barahapidam, Natavarabapu, Karnayo, Karnikaram, Vidbadvasa, Kanakapisham, Vajayanti, Chamalam, Randhan Venu, Radhar Sudaya, Pura and Gop Bindai, Bindarandam, Sabadaramanam, Pravist. Best beauty of Krishna. Gopis are telling like this. And what quality? Oho Bakiyam Stanakalukutam. Oh, how he is merciful. A demon like Putana, taking the blood and flesh of boys,
Newborn baby.
he went to kill Krishna and to give poison. And Krishna, with poison, he sold it to and purified. And she achieved a Dhatri Uchit Gati. How he is so merciful, we must serve them, that Krishna. Why we should serve? All demigods, gods are anyone. Gaur Premanande.
Dancer. Where is the dancer?
Oh, you should sing any song.
Dancer আছে না?
So they should come. Why not coming?
Where is dancer? If everybody can just move.
Here. Here they can come.
May I ask a question?
Question.
I'm not here.
Gurudev, you said that these substances are very powerful. The water that washed the feet of the pure devotee and the remnants of his foodstuffs.
And also Harikatha.
And Harikatha. So Harikatha, the devotees can hear all the time by reading books or hearing your tapes or watching on Pure Bhakti TV. But it seems like they can only get your food remnants or the water that washed your lotus feet once or twice a year. So how can they get it more often? Is
It
there
should be
another
like
way?
first Narad, like Shankar. When he takes a remnant and he begins to dance. And Parvati also begins to dance.
না বলছে আপনি তো কখনো এই দেশে এলেন ওদেশে গেলেন ভক্তরা কখনো একবার কি দুবার আপনার প্রসাদ পেল অথবা চরণ দিয়ে একবার পেল সবসময় পাবে কি করে ওইটার প্রশ্ন
Oh.
ওয়াটার ফ্রি
Those who can have, they are very fortunate. Why they are making late?
Hey, here, answer.
They should come, otherwise I will go.